3D movie Time Capsule
for 2016.
Hello. This is Adolf. I have with me Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And today we're doing the 2016 3D movie Time Capsule podcast. Woo!
Woohoo!
4 years ago, Jake, these movies came out, and it feels like forever ago.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago.
All right. As we usually do, we'd start off kind of at the top of the list of movies of the release calendar, and just work our way down. Now, we're not going to go over all the movies as usual, just the ones that we have stories about or remember very well. So, apologize to those people that like Divergent series. We ain't watching those movies.
I might eventually when I see another round of $5 3D Blu-rays for sale. Because what the hell?
All right, let's start things off with Kung Fu Panda 3. Did you watch this, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the Panda movies all kind of blur in together. But I remember it not sucking, and I remember tickling at Jack Black's. And I remember the 3D being good.
All right, let's keep on going here to The Mermaid, which is a Chinese movie, right?
Directed by Stephen Chow. Nice 3D. It's not as laugh out loud funny as some of his movies like Gotta Cookery or Kung Fu Hustle, but it's still a worthy movie. It's basically about mer people kind of dealing with the Chinese and hijinks ensues. I recommend it if you get a chance to see it, but it's a spendy disc. So unless you're hardcore Stephen Chow fan, you may not want to spend the money.
Wasn't this in the time frame where there was like a mermaid documentary or fake documentary on Animal Planet that got like a lot of hits and the mermaids were coming to the thing again? Or is it just me?
Yeah, that's probably why. Because one of his movies, he does a hilarious send-up of Alien Autopsy back in the 90s. I don't know if you remember that. But he does do really timely stuff in his movies.
I remember that mermaid mockumentary being such a big deal and like people were loving it, and it was like one of the most amazing, or not amazing, but like most rated things on Animal Planet, and they had like ethical concerns because it's all garbage. And
yeah,
people, but they again made them so much ratings that they had to play it over and over again. And I watched it. It was like, your typical History Channel fake documentary garbage.
Yeah,
aliens. All right, let's keep going here to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, World of Destiny.
Okay, this one burns my ass hard. This is a Netflix sequel to, the Chow Yun-fat, Michelle Yeoh martial arts movie from it's a big deal. And this got a 3D release in China. It wasn't available in 3D on their platform, and I've been trying to track down the 3D disc in China for under $50 US.
And that was under the Weinstein Company Netflix deal.
Yeah, and I imagine that's part of why I'm having difficulties seeing this movie as it was meant to be seen in 3D.
And it got like an IMAX exclusive, kind of thing. It released on Netflix, but also released on IMAX, which you kind of like, okay, I can just watch it at home.
Yeah, it didn't play 3D near me. I don't even know if it ever even played in the US in 3D.
Yeah, I never watched the original. I think when the original came out, I think the family rented it, and then it was subtitled, and I was too young to, want to read, and I think they watched it late at night. So I don't know anything about Crouching Tiger movies. Do they hold up?
Yeah, I just remember taking a whole bunch of friends to go see it because they hadn't really seen any martial arts movies, and they were wanting to see this, so I took them, and they just all bawled like babies. It just puzzled me to no end. I mean, I knew it was sad. I mean, I even warned them because a lot of martial arts movies traditionally are very sad. They're tragedies usually, and they just bawled.
Now, talking about bawling, this movie coming up next, Gods of Egypt, is worth bawling for because it's that terrible.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that'll be a couple hours of your life that you'll never get back.
And the first and only movie on 3DRT.com to get the coveted 1 out of a 10 score by me.
Yeah, it's well deserved. This is the most wrong-headed movie I have ever seen.
Okay, so what, people complain and say, well, you don't want to see bad movies, right? And it's like, well, the thing is, if it's so god awful bad, it makes really entertaining reviews. And this is so god awful bad. I feel like it was entertaining to watch this train wreck of a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this even makes Noah look like a masterpiece in comparison. If you want to talk about dealing with religious texts in a most wrong-headed manner, this is even worse.
Now, this was interesting because I got the free screening for it, and I was like, all right, cool. And then I went to watch it, and it was at Alamo Draft House. Which was like, okay, whatever, but they didn't have it in 3D. And then I walked out of the theater, and I was like, no way in hell am I going to watch this again. But I kind of feel like I need to have a 3D section here, and it was the first movie that I reviewed for that year. So I asked Miss Kristen to watch it, and to write the 3D section, and she watched it and gave it terrible 3D. It's just what Kristen said was that there's just absent of any 3D effects being good, and there's just, I think the impression I remember was that she was talking about it being no pop outs, no depth, it just cardboard cutouts moving on different layers of the background.
Yeah, it's the only thing I've got to say. It's actually in 3D and like the German conversion of Sharknado.
So this movie's about Egyptian god Set wants to usurp the crown and become the new Egypt, and he gets love struck by another character named Beck, and they join god Horus to take Egypt back from Set, and it's too many characters and there's not much explanation, and it's kind of like a bad Zelda ripoff where he has to go to dungeons and get these things and get this, and it's just forgettable. It's a mess, and it's just every single cliche, everything that sounds cool, is there, but it's like it's not cool. It just doesn't work.
They spend a fortune making people different sizes because hieroglyphics, Egyptian hieroglyphics, when they would write them out, the most important people would be larger. So they just said, "Oh, hieroglyphics! So we're gonna spend millions on these shitty effects that just look awkward and just will trigger your uncanny valley over and over and over again."
Yeah, and then they just go all the way crazy with the set pieces and stuff, and it's like, I don't care about these characters. I don't care what happens here, and it fails in every single attempt it does. I just don't care about anyone in this movie, and if the characters are gods, then how are you supposed to kill gods? It just doesn't make any sense.
Watching this movie, I felt like I was watching a movie made by people who not only had never seen a movie, but the only knowledge of movies they had was somebody who had heard of movies had described one to them.
Oh, and that it takes place in Egypt, but like almost no one's black or dark skinned.
Yeah. They're all white, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen an Egyptian movie, a movie set in Egypt this white since the original Ben-Hur. Well, actually, the original 3 Ben-Hurs, but I mean, hashtag Egypt so white. I mean, jeez.
There's tons of plot holes here. This is a disaster. I decided to create a new word. I coined this word in the review, terrificastrophe.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's so bad. I was writing the review and I walked out the theater. I was like, oh, bad. Okay, 4, 3. And then as you start writing, as you're starting on, doing the process of reviewing it and thinking back about this movie, the more it just kind of either cement your idea that you like it a lot and you could justify it, or it cements that you hate it and you just keep digging. And I was like, all right, we use all the scale here. Fine with me. 1 out of 10 it is. you know. So yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely atrociously bad, and the thing is, you have to see these turds to appreciate truly magnificent movies too.
Oh yeah, this is a train. This is one of the worst train wrecks ever put to film.
So Jake, do you agree with my 1 out of 10?
Oh God, yes.
So I hope you're entertained by that. Now, this next movie is actually very entertaining and a surprise, because for me, watching the original trailer for this movie, I was like, it looks okay, but eh. But when I actually did watch it, I was actually pleasantly surprised by Zootopia.
Yeah, that's a great little movie.
It's a Disney movie about a anthropomorphized future animal world where all these different animal species live together.
Yeah, it's like everything you wish Secret Life of Pets was and wasn't.
Yeah, and they have great characters here, and they have a really great kind of subtense of racism and speciesism, I guess, in this, where they talk about predators and prey, and oh, well, you're a fox, of course you're gonna be that way. It's really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And beautiful character designs, great animation, great 3D. I mean, this was a home run.
Yeah, I think I gave this an 8 back then, and I think maybe I maybe underrated it because
Yeah, I would probably given this a 9.
so yeah, I enjoyed the 3D aspect here too. I thought there's enough good stuff with depth and enough fun pop outs that made sense in the context. They put effort, and I think it looks really nice too, 3D wise.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few movies that you go back and it's like, that was really great. That was better than I thought it was going to be, and it really hit it out of the park. And
Yeah.
Now this next one is one of the most controversial movies to come out this year. You know what I'm talking about, Jake?
No, because there were a couple of different controversial movies that came out among different fandoms.
Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, theatrical cut of this. Oh my God, I did not like it. But I did enjoy thoroughly the director's cut. Zack Snyder's a very interesting filmmaker. I don't love every one of his movies, but everything I've seen has intrigued me. He is a man full of ideas, who, unfortunately, because the way Hollywood is, he doesn't get to work on his own ideas. He's mostly adapting other media for movies.
And this is the dawn of trying to be the dawn of the DC universe, and incorporating other DC characters like Flash and
Yeah, if you've seen like director's cut of this, Watchmen, you can just see the suit interference in his movies, and this one is no exception to that. What was put out in the theaters was pretty terrible, and the way the whole Martha thing was handled.
It didn't bother me. I actually thought it was clever how I never thought of that idea between them, but it became such a meme after that
it's one of those things that unless you are familiar with the characters, it's going to go right over your head, and it went over most audiences' head because they never put together that their mothers were both named Martha. It needed just a little more connective tissue, and I don't think that's Zack Snyder's fault. Pretty much the whole leadership of Warner Brothers who signed off on these movies is gone. They trashed this universe trying to make bonuses, trying to get bonuses in their own pockets at the expense of movies. I mean, the stories are legendary. I wouldn't be surprised in 10 years we get a movie about, or a miniseries on cable about the train wreck that led to what happened with the DCU.
There was some really good 3D in this movie, though.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. 3D is top notch in this. And it's even better in the director's cut. Because, like I said, scenes are longer and stuff flows more. And the scenes just work better. Yes. Yeah. See the director's cut of this. Don't waste your time with the theatrical.
The one scene that, I mean, it's not really a spoiler because every movie that has Batman in it basically has the scene.
Oh, the cave. Oh, the cave and the bats. That is like absolutely breathtaking.
No, the scene where Batman's parents die.
I'm so over Batman's parents dying.
I know, but that scene, how they had like the pearl necklace, and then
it
came down, it popped off their neck, and then it just
the pearls are everywhere. Yeah, I mean, there's just certain things that I could go without seeing again. The Waynes getting murdered, Uncle Ben getting killed.
But it looks so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie itself, okay, I agree with you. There's parts of the movie I still do like. I do like the ideas here. I do like the action here. It just falls apart when you think of some things. I really hate Lex Luthor. I don't hate him because he's evil and that's a part of the character. I hate him because Jesse Eisenberg is miscast. I'm sorry.
Well, to me it worked, but because I did hate him, because I just thought he was just some overly privileged douchebag who has some intelligence in some areas and he's completely moronic in other areas. Kind of reminded me of a few other tech gods who were worshipped endlessly on Twitter. Not going to say names. Everybody knows which dudes I'm talking about. He just kind of reminded me of that, which is perfect. We've got these billionaires about to become trillionaires with all this power, and they don't have the common sense to come out of the rain. So they're real scary people.
So I reluctantly gave this a 7 out of 10. I do agree with you that the director's cut is better, but the director's cut is like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, but a movie is pretty good. It flies by.
So, yeah, that length is the director's cut. I agree that it fills in some gaps. It makes things make more sense. They had to edit it down, and it worked for me, but barely. And having the director's cut does make things better. It just so long. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
I think it's well worth the investment in time to see the director's cut.
I agree. I just think it's a very long movie.
Yeah, but to me it didn't feel long. While meanwhile the 90-minute Justice League movie felt like it was 5 hours long.
Let's move on here to The Jungle Book. Now this is a 3D live-action remake, and damn, this movie's great.
I just remember just how beautiful it looked.
Yeah, the CGI here is perfect, absolutely perfect, and the young boy that was Mowgli hit it out of the park, and how they did everything just made it so much fun. All the Bill Murray is inspired as a bear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he takes over from oh god, now I'm blanking on his name. He was one of Jack Benny's side guys, and and Bare Necessities is one of his signature songs.
Now, you mentioned Bare Necessities, and I feel like that's the only real negative. I feel like the songs just fall flat and don't work in this kind of movie. But the movie itself, I think, is actually better than the animated movie.
Yeah, the music is what makes the animated because the original Jungle Book was made when Disney was on the cheap, cutting corners, really cutting corners. I mean, if you think they cut corners on Little Mermaid, it's nothing like what they did on Jungle Book. Uh, but the music is what made the original Jungle Book, because that's like an inspired soundtrack.
But yeah, I still love it. Great 3D. Absolutely. It just gets you immersed into this world. Feels like they filmed it in 3D. I don't know if they did or not. I don't remember, but it really feels amazing.
Yeah, this is well worth checking out. I mean, if you haven't seen it, this is well worth seeing in 3D. It's worth the hassle.
And absolutely, for me, the reason why you make a remake, because you make it better, you make it more interesting, and you have everything there that works. I was surprised because I rewatched the original cartoon like a couple days after I watched this movie, and I was like, you know what? I actually like this new remake more. Wow.
Yeah, original Jungle Book was one of those. It's like Little Mermaid. It just frustrates me because you can just see they have the germs of this great movie, and they just cut so many corners. Little Mermaid holds up better, despite the limited animation and all the corners they cut. But the original 67 Jungle Book is just kind of like, oh God, make it stop. It's one of those things. I very seldomly watched it, but I listened to the hell out of the music as a kid.
Yeah. The 1967 original, I mean, it's a really tight movie. Like, it's only 78 minutes long, so it's pretty short for...
But it does feel long.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty dreary between musical numbers.
All right, let's move on here to Captain America: Civil War. I like this movie a lot.
So do I.
It's unofficially Avengers 3.
Yeah, flaws and all. I mean, this movie holds up. I mean, it's not the perfect movie. I'd probably round it up to a 10, even though in my heart of hearts I only think it deserves a 9. But this is so much better than the source material it's based on.
And introduction to the new Spider-Man, which fantastic.
Yeah, and Black Panther and
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a great Ant-Man scene.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's fun. It has a lot to juggle, but it does work for what it is.
And it's also got really good 3D, like all the other Russo brothers Marvel movies. It's got top-notch 3D.
One kind of thing that's kind of weird that I remember is that the movie has a really huge title cards, and it says where they are in the movie. It's like the entire screen size. You remember that or no?
Yeah.
We gave it an 8 out of 10 on the website. That review was...
That's too low. Too low.
I wrote the review of the movie, and James wrote the review of the 3D part, because I got to see that in an early screening, and which is kind of rare. Usually, Marvel doesn't do early screenings because they gain nothing from that. Yeah. People that want to watch Marvel are going to watch it. They don't care about the early reviews. And
I think they were worried because Captain America wasn't exactly a household name. And I think they were worried that they were wondering if they should rename it Avengers 3 or something.
But yeah, we gave it good 3D and 8 out of 10. And it's like the stakes are kind of low because no one really gets killed or anything. They fight each other, but no one really dies. But part of the reason no one gets really hurt, no one really tried to.
I really like this movie because it just wasn't trying to save the world again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the King Wakanda dies in this movie.
Yeah, that's.
And Jody gets handicapped in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rhodey gets really messed up.
Rhodey, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Next movie, Angry Birds movie. Jay, did you ever watch this? The original?
Yeah, I remember it wasn't very good, and it was bad enough that it hurt the the far superior sequel. People stayed away in droves.
So I remember back when this was getting advertisements, we were like, come on. We don't need this to be a movie. And, you know, I got a free screening of it, and I was like, all right, let's watch this. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was better than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to complete trash. I liked it. I thought it worked. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know, the fact that they make a plot out of a mobile game that is very basic. They make it work, and it was one of the few video game movies that works. Just kind of sad that it's been 4 years and very, very few video game movies work.
Mm-hmm.
This one does, and I understand and sympathize with Red, which is the main character here, as he's angry and he's kicked out of society. I get it, and I like it. So, Angry Birds is a good movie. Jake, you have anything else to add to that?
I think you just about covered it.
The 3D was actually nice too. They had some cool stuff here and there. It's a little gimmicky, but it works for what it is. For this kind of animated kids movie, it worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, little gimmicks never hurt anybody with 3D. In fact, it adds a little spice to the visual experience.
So Angry Birds, not as bad as you would think it would be.
Mm-hmm. Second one's better.
No. Talking about something that you think it's going to be bad. And boy, is it. Alice Through the Looking Glass. Oh, God.
Ugh.
This is another turd. This is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should. Yeah, I feel like I should call this was a tragic waste of Alan Rickman for just brief moments. God, this movie.
I already hated the Alice in Wonderland movie, and this sequel is worse.
Yeah, it's terrible. 3D's not that great.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so perfunctory. It's like, oh, the first one made money. We'll just shit this one out to make money.
I think the 3D was really cool in the opening scene, and then after that, nope, not really here. It's kind of inconsistent and forgettable, and maybe here and there.
Mm. And this is one of those movies. 5 minutes in, you're gonna know exactly how it unfolds, and there's gonna be no surprises.
So in this movie, if I remember correctly, Alice is a captain of a ship, and she comes back to dock because it's her time to get married, and she doesn't want to get married, so she goes back into Wonderland. And in Wonderland, there's a whole thing with the time god. And he's going bad, and she has to help fix it. And the Mad Hatter has gone crazy, which even crazier than he usually is, and left. And she has to kind of fix the time, and
Yeah, and Sacha Baron Cohen is wasted. I mean, he's great, but he's so disconnected from what else is going on in the movie. It's like he's in another movie.
It's like a time loop kind of thing where if you change history, this changes. And
I so desperately wanted to change history to make this a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a mess.
And it's not even fun like Gods of Egypt. Gods of Egypt, you can just laugh at and have a good time. This movie, you just want it to end.
So yeah, in my review, I remember I was writing this review, and I was like, okay, I really, really don't like this movie. And I kept going at it, and I kept writing it, and I wrote it down from a 5 to a 3. This movie's all over the place. Like, it has a moral of feminism and grief and mental illness and understanding the past, and it just kind of muddles all these topics together, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's just bad. So let's keep going here to another bad movie. Now, I don't think this is a horrible movie. A lot of people think this is a horrible movie. I think it's a flawed movie, but I still like it to a degree. X-Men Apocalypse.
I think it's pretty terrible. All the hate everybody's given Dark Phoenix, it should be on this movie. This movie disappointed me terribly. It was just, it had decent 3D, but it was just so muddled. I was constantly going, what the, I mean, this was just such a mess.
So, yeah, this movie is about, like, time travel, too, and it takes place in the 70s, and it has the actual great villain of Apocalypse made into a terrible villain in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell was, he sounded like a Jewish grandfather.
And like they introduce it's supposed to be like in the 90s, right? Or 80s.
Yeah.
And for some reason they introduced the character of Jubilee and then just like, oh yeah, she's here, and then she's never seen again.
Yeah. Well, that's par for the course. I mean, Kitty Pryde and some of the other characters that just got an introduction and then disappeared. And
I actually do like how Cyclops is introduced into the school, and like he's, you know, being taught how to control his powers. I like Nightcrawler being sweet and pretty innocent in this movie. I kind of like Mystique being more elevated to a degree in her role. Quicksilver's here. He has another fun scene, which it's kind of like, okay, is Quicksilver only going to do these fun scenes and that's it?
yeah, Evan Peters is such a good actor. I mean, damn. And they didn't really do anything with him except put him in cool scenes that anybody could have done.
Any speedster, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you could have put Aaron Johnson in the part, and he would have been just as effective. I mean, didn't. If you've ever seen him in American Horror Story, you know he's got a range. I mean, he's played so many different characters on that show; it's mind blowing.
And the villains here, Psylocke is awful. Angel is awful. You get nothing out of them. And Apocalypse himself, his voice is weird. It becomes robotic. His costume just doesn't make sense. There was one scene that I thought was magnificent, which is a sad scene where Magneto's family gets killed.
Yeah.
And like you feel for Magneto, he's just like trying to avoid everything and just like, you know what? I'm just going to be out here and I'm going to live my life without powers and start brand new and try not to be a bad guy. And it just kind of, the government comes in and takes him, and he has to, and then he kills his family, and understandably he wants to be a bad guy again. I like the first half of this movie a lot, but the second half kind of falls apart. I gave it a 6. You know, I think that's a fair score for it, but I don't hate this movie. It's such wasted potential.
Me, this is a 5, and to my dying day, I stick by my 7 for Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I definitely think Dark Phoenix is better, and it's weird because they introduced Dark Phoenix here, but the way that they have her, it pissed me off so much because it was just like such a Deus Ex Machina where, no one can save the day. Why not Phoenix? Use your power, and there it is. It solves everything. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I think I was at the just end it. Just put me out of my misery in this movie, please.
We got another bad movie to talk about next, Jake. Independence Day Resurgence.
Oh God, yeah.
What do you think of this movie, Jake?
Oh, I knew it was going to suck. If Will Smith won't do it, you know it's going to suck.
Yeah. This one I actually watched in D-Box 3D.
Ooh.
That was actually fun for D-Box. Just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, listeners, D-Box was a way you could watch a movie, and certain movies you would be put into a chair. You would have a row of chairs that you would have to pay extra for, and these chairs would uh, move and vibrate according to the action scenes or the scenes in the movie. So they would actually have, this movie has a D-Box version, and you get to watch it. You have to pay extra for this, but it would, move and shake, and I thought it was actually for fun. It was fun for what it was, but it added to the ticket price, and you could combine it with 3D. And for D-Box, it was a really good experience, but for the movie itself, it sucked. It just feels dated, and it just doesn't. It's not campy enough to be fun. It's just your average action movie with stupid set pieces, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just too silly to be good. It's not silly enough to be funny.
Yeah. I mean, uh, I didn't like the original, and I like this one even less. It was more pandering and more. At least the original one had a sense of fun, even though there were a lot of scenes that really pissed me off. But this one, it was just pissing me off nonstop. I mean, like I said, they would have been better off just casting somebody else in the Will Smith part.
And then they had like a whole cast of kids, and none of these kids were good. None of them were likable. It was just kind of meh.
Yeah, this movie made me reevaluate the Pacific Rim sequel, because I kept thinking about how much better the Pacific Rim sequel was to this to this Independence Day sequel.
And my beloved Brent Spiner is so corny. It's so painful to watch him on this movie.
Mm-hmm. This movie's this movie's painful to watch.
Yeah, it's just bad writing, bad acting. Special effects are fine, but it's still, I don't care. I gave this a 4 out of 10.
That's fair.
The 3D, it had some moments here and there, but it was like, it's fine. D-Box is fun.
Yeah, this is the definition of cash grab, and I don't know how much cash they managed to grab with it.
I don't think it did very well at all. I think it bombed pretty bad. So, getting out of the dredges to a good movie. Not a great movie, but a good movie. Finding Dory. What do you think of this movie?
I saw it. I remember it sort of. I just remember it was not as bad as I feared, not as good as I hoped, and decent 3D.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like I gave it an 8, but I feel like that was too high. Like it probably should have been a 7.
Yeah.
It just is kind of repeat, and you find out what happened to make Dory the fish not be able to remember, and she has a whole adventure with trying to find her family. And I know Ellen is DeGeneres is great, but she can't carry the movie as much as being a side character. It looks beautiful. I kind of feel like they explained some things, but not enough. And I wasn't bored by the movie. It just felt unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it was kind of far-fetched. Even for a kid's animated movie, it's just like, okay, really? There's an octopus that's driving a car. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pretty smart creatures, but not that smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can skip this and just watch Zootopia.
Alright, so let's keep going to another video game movie, Warcraft. Now, I did not watch this movie, but I actually heard good things, and our former editor, James,
Okay.
wrote the review and he gave it a 7.
Okay, yeah, I'd give this one a 7 too. I love Duncan Jones as a director. Moon is incredible. Um, If you don't know, he's the son of David Bowie. Real inspired choice for this because he's got a very specific shooting style, and this is really interesting casting. Uh, I'm not that familiar with World of Warcraft, the game, so I came into this just kind of like, more from a Tolkien fan. Uh, and I was impressed, really impressed with the visuals, the 3D. Yeah, the story was a bit hard to follow in places, but I found it engaging and entertaining.
This movie did not do that well in the U.S., but it made good bank in China.
So they might eventually be a sequel to this because of the bank it did make in China. That is, once the world ever gets back to any semblance of normalcy.
Maybe they'll just make it a fully CGI one and just move on.
Yeah, but yeah, Ruth Negin and Dominic Cooper are in this. You might know they did Preacher together, and they've done some Marvel stuff on television. So, I mean, like I said, this movie has some inspired moments.
So let's keep going here to the BFG. You know what that stands for, Jake?
No, I know I've seen this. This is one of those movies that I got dragged into babysitting kids, and they were bored, and I remember another adult had to help deal with the kids because I had too much to drink.
So this is a movie based on the Doom gun, the big effing gun, and this movie is about a gun, and the gun is alive and it kills things and it's awesome, and I'm lying. This is about Big Friendly Giant, BFG. It's a Roald Dahl book. And this is about a friendly old giant and a little girl that is with him, Sophie, and just kind of the adventures that they have together. I liked it. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't review this. I watched it later on on DVD, and it was fine. I didn't. It had some good heart to it.
Yeah, this is one of these ones I want to revisit in a more sober state, but it's one of those that is tough to track down. I haven't found a 3D disc yet. And don't at me if you found one unless it's pretty cheap, because I can't afford what a lot of these discs, when they do pop up, sell for.
The only thing about this movie is just that it's a sweet-hearted movie. It just is forgettable. Like, I don't remember anything about this movie besides it being, oh, that was a sweet movie. A movie you can watch with your family and you just forget that exists.
You remember more than I do.
Yeah. It's really. I don't remember anything else really about this movie except, that's the problem with it. Really, it's just not that memorable, not that inspired. It's just, that's a sweet movie you watch. A kind of movie grandparents watch with their grandchildren, and that's that.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here to The Legend of Tarzan. Remember this movie, Jake?
About all I remember. This is another drinking adventure. Alexander Skarsgård looks really good in a loincloth.
And that's all you got.
That's all I got. Sorry. Maybe if I find a $5, $10 3D Blu-ray, I'll get around to revisiting it and maybe have something intelligent to say about it. But maybe it's not such a mystery why I developed pancreatitis, because now I'm starting to see a pattern here with my drinking, or former drinking.
So, I got nothing else to say about that. Let's keep going here to A decent movie, not a great movie. The Secret Life of Pets, the original movie.
Yeah, it's it really falls apart at the end when the slapstick kind of chasing around. Um, it the beginning was more interesting when you were in the inner monologues. They just didn't have an ending.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that my wife wanted to watch, and I was like, all right, I'll watch it, and I'll do a review for it. I had no interest in it. The trailers for it were all kind of basic. Like, okay, what else is going on here? I mean, they're kind of cute that you see the dogs and cats, doing these things at home when
Hmm.
their pets' parents are gone, or owners or whatever. But I was like, okay, that's cute for short. How do you make this into a whole movie? How do you make this into something that's worth more than a cute little 15-minute scene? And I did like this movie. It's good. It just there's nothing great about it.
Yeah, I'm like you. I would think you'd be better off watching Zootopia.
True, but when this came out, it was summer, and Zootopia was the early February, I think. So
Yeah.
the characters are cute. It's a sweet, nice little story that the sequel is fine too. It never it's
The
content.
sequel.
It's content being mediocre, and it
Yeah.
doesn't try to be more than anything it is.
Well, at least the sequel had Harrison Ford as a dog.
Yeah,
That was fun. That was fun. This movie doesn't have anything like that. No off the wall casting to like make you go, what?
it just feels like a Looney Tunes short that became its own movie,
Hmm.
which is fine.
Yeah.
It's light. It's a fun little light-hearted movie. It doesn't have to. All movies don't have to be great. It's fine for what it is. It's nothing I would watch more than twice. I haven't watched the original again since the theaters, and I was fine with that. It's cute. It's fine.
Yeah.
I gave it a 7. I liked it. Maybe too high there.
Uh, I mean, I probably would have given it a 5, but I think I gave the sequel a 7. Of course, to be honest, I did like Harrison Ford's performance. When he tries, he's actually interesting.
The 3D was gimmicky, but it worked well for this kind of movie too.
Hmm. I mean, I remember the 3D being very nice, especially when they were doing all the stuff on ledges and going over stuff and kind of, it helped create suspense and tension that the story itself wasn't actually doing.
Yeah. Now, from one movie that's mediocre, another super duper controversial movie, Ghostbusters. Oh,
You know what really sucks about this movie is most of the people that hate this are the most misogynistic swines I've ever heard, and I hate being clumped in with them because I don't like this movie either.
yeah,
But I dislike them worse.
absolutely right. I remember this way back in the day. James and I were talking about it, and I was optimistic, and I was defending this movie and saying, "Let's give it a shot, James. I know. Let's give it It's. I actually like the director. I actually liked the cast. The last movie he did, The Heat, I love.
I love Paul Feig. He's done some great stuff. This isn't one of them. I mean, this is like a felony misuse of Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's just so stupid, and I don't like these characters. I don't care if they're male or female. It's bad either way.
It just wasn't funny. Um, the best performance in the whole thing uh, was Chris Hemsworth as the male bimbo, as the secretary. He was absolutely laugh out loud funny. he really captured that whole kind of male Marilyn Monroe thing, and he was absolutely inspired. Unfortunately, he felt like he was in a different movie than everybody else.
I actually really don't like him because he was that way. I just felt it was really annoying, and I it just grated on me. I just did not like him, so I didn't like that. Which you said it was the best part of the movie, and I went to see the screening of it. I barely got into the screening of it, and unfortunately, it was 2D only, and it was, I had a bad seat in there, and yeah, this movie just doesn't work. It's doesn't have a good chemistry with characters. It doesn't have good writing. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, nothing followed up on stuff. I mean, some of the stuff just wasn't funny.
Yeah, a lot of plot holes here. A ton of unexplained, underdeveloped stuff that just like, okay, cool, but they never explained again. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate the villain too. The villain sucks.
Yeah.
He wants to make everyone a ghost. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't watch this in 3D. James did. He said that he actually kind of liked the 3D aspect. It was gimmicky.
Yeah, 3D was good. Yeah, 3D was really good in this.
James did mention briefly that there was some scenes where they go out of the aspect ratio that he didn't like, but I thought that would be cool. Did that? You remember that happening or no?
It didn't happen at my screening.
Okay.
But that could just be the theater being lazy. Yeah, because I had a hell of a time finding a theater that was running Galaxy Quest in proper aspect ratio.
Oh, and then that the one of the characters here, Patty Tolin, she's just a bad black woman stereotype. I'm sorry. It just no, and it just doesn't work. It's just doesn't know what it's doing, and it's painful to watch. It's bad writing, bad everything about this is just trash.
I just felt bad for the people in this movie. I mean, the only thing that kept my butt in the seat from leaving, because I actually almost walked out on this, was Chris Hemsworth, because I did, his character worked for me, and I think that's because he just played it so well, and his timing was perfect. Unfortunately, the only other laugh in the movie was the bust of Harold Ramis.
Yeah, and those cameos are just so jammed in, and I hate this movie. I hate it so much, and I agree with you. I don't want to be lumped in with the haters that are sexist that are just hating it because it's women. If it was men instead of women, it would be equally as bad.
Yeah, if they used the same script, it would have been just as bad.
I gave this a 2 out of 10.
That's fair.
Another bad movie. All right, another movie that I never watched and I don't care. Ice Age Collision Course, the 25th Ice Age movie, right?
Yeah. It's at this point, it's what's more milked, Ice Age or Minions.
Right now, Ice Age is winning that battle, but
yeah, it's like all these Ice Age movies just blend into one another with me. I mean, I don't even care at this point.
So yeah, the plot here, I'm just reading Wikipedia. I didn't watch this. I was done with Ice Age, and this is the fifth, I think officially the 5th one. But I was done with it on the 2nd one. So I just gave up right away on this franchise. I was like, nope. Okay. While attempting to bury his acorn again, Scrat, the little squirrel, finds a frozen cave. In that cave, he discovers a flying saucer. Wow.
Yeah, I think I was drunk watching this. I think this is one of the ones I couldn't weasel out of.
and there's dinosaurs here, there's UFO here. They just go crazy. And made $400 million box office. It cost them $100 million to make, so it definitely made decent bank.
Yeah, thanks, America.
Oh, yeah.
You go see this trash, and you don't go see Alita Battle Angel. Thanks, America.
All right, let's go from that movie to actually a good movie that didn't do that well either. Star Trek Beyond. I really like this movie.
Oh, this one's awesome. This is a fan movie for fans. I mean, I don't have the big hate for Into Darkness that a lot of people did. It worked. That one worked for me. But I'll be the first to admit, Star Trek Beyond's a better movie. I just think fans were so burnt out, so tired of all the crap Paramount was doing, and I think the hardcore were staying home, and the other people were not into the. And then the stuff with Anton Yelchin dying, and I mean,
So tragic.
it's just a shame. It's a shame. If you haven't seen this, watch it. This is a great Star Trek movie.
Yeah. The 3D aspect I thought was very bad. Like, they didn't really try here. For me, at least. I don't know about your experience with it. I thought there's only...
It was good enough. It wasn't something I would give great or really good 3D, but and at home on disc, it played better on my system than it did on the big screen. So they might have tweaked it for home release.
Yeah, the movie itself, this finally feels like a good sequel to 2009. I mean, I my experience with Into Darkness is weird, but it feels like they're finally getting the premise and being its own thing. Because 2009 was like, all right, we're going to hit the big reset button here, do some things that are different, some things that are familiar, and then the Into Darkness came out, and that was basically, Con, but, a twisted version of it.
Mm-hmm. I think people just weren't ready to confront the truths about the Iraq War, and I think it just hit. This was something people didn't want to process.
And so Star Trek Beyond, finally, it's a new kind of alien life. This is about, Kirk and the crew trying to survive a alien planet and trying to figure out what's going on. And you have a villain here, which used to be a villain, another captain, and he felt abandoned, and he now uses the powers to, try to suck life out of people or something. But it works really well. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's one of the best Star Trek movies.
Mm-hmm. This is well worth seeing, and if you can see it in 3D at home, it's worth checking out that way too.
So I just thought it was so much fun and so well done. Definitely recommend it. And it's completely on its own too. Like, it doesn't really matter what happened beforehand. You can watch it. It's like an episode, self-contained. I really like one of the characters here too. The new characters they introduce, and I was hoping to see more of her, but we haven't. So, yeah. Beyond is a great movie. It just, the 3D not so much, but the movie itself, yeah. All right, let's keep going here to a movie that we did not see in 3D. We did not have 3D here. Jason Bourne. It's like a reboot of the franchise, right?
Yeah,
Did you watch this?
I'm sure I have, but because my mother always makes me go see Matt Damon as Jason Bourne, but I don't know if he was in this one or not. If he wasn't, I didn't see it, and if he was, I did and don't remember.
So, I didn't know this was a 3D movie. My wife's been wanting to watch these movies, the Bourne movies. I just don't have any real interest. Um, anyway, this movie got a Chinese and Asian 3D release, and the problem with that was it was a bad conversion. Like, bad enough that people were literally throwing up in the aisles of the theater. And I think they did a lawsuit or started a petition to get refunds, and like they wouldn't get refunds, and it was just that bad.
Ooh, that's a bad conversion. So it's maybe a good thing it didn't get a home release in 3D anywhere.
This is one of those movies that, sometimes we get 3D releases that are not in America, and they're trying to make money in different parts of the world, and this is exactly that thing. And Jason Bourne being, shaky cam, and yeah, I remember this was a big deal back in 2016. Like, I got people from outside the U.S. saying this is bad. You need to talk about it. you know. So, all right, let's keep going here to Suicide Squad. Now, a lot of people seem to hate this movie. I like it. I don't love it. Jake, what are your thoughts on it?
There's you can tell there's a really good movie in there somewhere, but you can like smell the suit interference. Yeah, release the air cut, baby. Yeah, David Ayer is a really good filmmaker, and he got let down by the studio on this. The I there's a it's even the version that was released is worthwhile. To me, it kind of is a cross between the old war movie Kelly's Heroes and the '84 Ghostbusters. But I really want to see what Ayers did before the studio chopped it all up.
So there's a lot of attention being made for this movie when it came out, that Warner Brothers heard of the bad publicity of Batman vs Superman, and they really helped to make it more funny, make it more lighthearted, and they really changed up the movie before it came out to be more that way. Now,
Yeah, the studio decided to let the company that cut the trailer that was so well received, they let them recut the movie. And they cut a lot of connective tissue out. And they cut away most of Jared Leto's Joker performance. And I blame a lot of the fanboys who were screaming bloody murder sight unseen. They just didn't like Gangsta Joker, and they didn't even wait to give it a chance or anything. And the studio, I think, just got scared and basically cut his performance away.
Yeah, he got like maybe 2.5 minutes on screen, and it was nothing.
They basically turned this movie into Harley Quinn's booty shorts.
I do kind of like it though, even though it's very flawed. I still think it was enjoyable for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a 7.
That's exactly the score I gave it, Jake. So yeah, look, the villain here is bad. Do you remember the villain of
Enchantress? Yeah, that was another. Yeah,
like Will Smith being Deadshot was great.
Yeah, he was great in this. I mean, I wanted to see him do more villain turns. I mean, damn, he was good in this.
The final act just kind of falls apart too. It's just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's basically Ghostbusters. Only thing they didn't yell is aim for the flat top.
Oh, Amanda Waller here. Love it. Love her. Love her.
Yep. Like I said, support the campaign. Release the Ayers cut. I mean, this is, I mean, and his cut is pretty much ready to go. So there won't be any money spent like there will be on the Zack Snyder thing they're doing for HBO Max.
I liked how they did have the little character stats and stuff when they paused the movie and introduced the characters. I thought that was fun and innovative, and it looked cool in 3D. I liked the 3D aspect of this too.
Yeah, 3D was really good in this.
A lot of times you have stuff pop out.
Yeah, I hope Ayers does some more 3D stuff. I was impressed.
The end credit scene, very nice too.
Yep.
It wasn't necessary, but you definitely worth. Like you know, this is worth it. This is nice. This is a good effort.
Yeah, and I believe there is a longer cut, but it's not in 3D, so I haven't seen it. I've only seen this in 3D, and I've seen it a couple of times in 3D.
All right, let's keep going here. We got Ben-Hur, a remake of the classic 50s or when was the original come out? I don't remember.
Well, Ben-Hur was filmed a couple of times in the silent era, most notably in '59 with Charlton Heston, and there's been, and it's got a chariot race that you got to see to believe. It's probably one of the greatest action scenes ever put to film. And the pod race in episode 1 comes pretty close to that chariot race, but the rest of the movie's hot garbage. But I'm getting so off topic. This movie, even though I knew it was going to be pure flicks type trash, but hey, some of those movies are awesomely hysterically, unintentionally funny. So I actually got advance tickets to this, went to the theater, and the theater broke my heart in saying they didn't send us a 3D print. All we got is 2D. And I was like, well, F it. Got my money back and left.
And you didn't watch it?
Nope.
Well, that's a good story. Let's keep going here. We got a few more movies. Kubo and the Two Strings. Now, I did not watch this in 3D. I didn't review it either. I should have.
You missed a treat. Leica was on fire.
Well, I watched it on Blu-ray, but I did not watch.
Yeah.
It looked great on Blu-ray, and it was a great movie.
Yeah, this is another 10 from Leica. If you can see this in 3D, do so. Yeah, Leica movies get the highest recommendation from me.
Such a sweet movie, great heart in here, and great characters and story, and beautiful.
Yeah, this is beautiful work. I mean, this movie is just gorgeous.
All right, let's keep going here to an animated movie about babies and storks. The movie is called Storks. Jake, have you watched this?
Nope. This is one I managed to weasel out of seeing. I haven't seen this one yet.
Okay, so I got a screening ticket for this, and I was like, sure, whatever. It came out in September. There's not that much going on. Sure. And it's basically okay. What happens in the whole stork industry with how that works, and it's okay. The 3D aspect was very basic. Like they have some layers here and there. There's like one obvious scene with the paddle ball and the ball popping out, but that it just isn't enough. The 3D honestly is an afterthought. I gave it a terrible 3D. The movie itself, it's okay. I like it. I liked it more than I thought it was going to be. And it's more interesting idea, with like a plot of like who controls when people get babies or not, and like it ends up where it just goes crazy and this guy doesn't control who gets babies. Everyone should just have babies when they want to have babies, and I liked it. For what it was, I digged it. Enough. Keyword there. I gave it a 6. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. It's it's okay. Just forgettable.
I know, but it just seems like, wow, if you can't make an animated movie pop in 3D, you ain't trying.
It has too many characters. It's really silly, and it just. I mean, K and Peele are here, and they cool. I like them. There's some interesting things they do, but overall, it's okay. Not. It's something that you could park your kid in front of, and that's that. Nothing too offensive, nothing too out there that I remember too much of. I mean, there was a really annoying pigeon named Toady that just annoying in every way, but I think that's kind of the point because his name is Toady, right? And Toady's supposed to be annoying, right?
I'm assuming, yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going here to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I love this movie. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, this is like Tim Burton can still make good movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie, I think, didn't do that well, right? I don't remember doing that
Yeah,
much money.
yeah, yeah, which is a shame because this is one of Tim Burton's best movies in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely great 3D, by the way. Cinematography, gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
There's raindrop scenes where it gets paused in time. It's like a one of those. I guess it's a genre now, a subgenre of movies that are set in a time loop, and it's about kids, and the kids are like in World War I, and the kids are really weird. Yeah, this is great. A great movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I really like the characters. I like the world building. Yeah, this is something that people always complain about. I want new movies. I want new movies. All right, here's a new movie.
Mm-hmm. And if you can see it in 3D, watch it in 3D. This one's worth the hassle.
It's actually, movies focused on a teenager named Jake, whose grandfather tells him the tale of a peculiar children in England, and he goes to figure it out. And yeah, it's great characters here. It's a lot of fun. I think it's based on a book series, but I don't remember the book series being that popular or that well known. But I mean, I'm not a young adult. I don't have kids.
Yeah, and chances are we're not going to get another one, which is a shame.
Yeah, Miss Peregrine here is kind of like a twisted version of Mary Poppins, and I love her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she's a lot more, to me, she's a lot more fun than Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children is great movie, great 3D. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Definitely was a nice surprise. It's a movie that you're like, finally, something fresh, something kind of different,
Mm-hmm.
fun stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's a rare kids movie that's not going to bore adults.
And like it's a kind of semi-serious kids movie too. So it's a gem of a movie. It's one of those. It's a hidden gem, and definitely recommend this movie.
Mm-hmm. Ditto for me too.
Now this next movie here, this is a treat. This is a treat. Doctor Strange.
Oh wow, this is a must see in 3D.
Absolutely. I got tickets to watch this in IMAX 3D, and I was so happy I watched it in IMAX 3D.
I didn't even care that Clea wasn't in the movie, and she's like my favorite Doctor Strange side character.
This is editor.
This movie, yeah, this is Editor's Choice 3D. The 3D on this is amazing.
Yep.
It's got a great story. This is one of the best origin movies that Marvel ever made. The I'm trying to figure out a way to describe it without spoiling it too much, but there is a fight scene in the hospital that is amazing. Rachel McAdams is the love interest. She's incredible in this. I mean, there's just no bad performance in this. I mean, Benjamin Bratt, and I mean, there's just Benedict Wong. There's just so many. Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, and it's got some effects in here that blow Inception away, and the 3D is spectacular. Uh, yeah, when this came out, I remember I saw this in the theaters. It was a pain in the ass getting this on 3D, but oh god, it was worth it. I've watched this many times at home on my setup. It's it's just amazing, the 3D.
Yes, this is, I think, a watershed moment in Marvel Studios 3D, where they finally. I mean, I liked the 3D in most of the movies beforehand, to a degree. You know, some of them are okay, some of them are kind of crappy, some of them are good, better.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the first one. We are serious in the 3D here, and this hit it out of the park. I love the 3D aspect. I agree with you 100%. Great depth of field, great pop out, some cool shots, close up shots. That it's part of the story, and the visual design of Doctor Strange is 3D. I want to watch it again, but I don't have the 3D Blu-ray, and I don't want to watch it on 2D because it's so perfect in 3D. So yeah, cinematography here is great. I remember the whole world folding on itself, and I was like, oh cool, they copied Inception. And then I remember hearing that Inception was going to try to record in 3D, but then Christopher Nolan's like an ass and is like, oh, I hate 3D, whatever, and I'm going to film this in a weird way anyway. And this kind of proved, look, Christopher Nolan, you could have had a great 3D here.
He might one of these days make a 3D movie, and I would be really intrigued to see what he did with it.
Benedict Cumberbatch is excellent as Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I mean, I was so happy that Joaquin Phoenix turned this part down, because I can't even imagine anybody but Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange now.
It's just as good as Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man,
It's just perfect casting.
And Doctor Strange, we don't, me and you know about him kind of in comics, but the vast majority of people would not know who the hell he is. And the fact that they're able to make this into a excellent movie that works and is psychedelic and understands the core aspects of Doctor Strange and embraces it, and it still works as a film, magnificent.
I mean, if I had to give any fault to this movie, it would be how the Ancient One had to be kind of turned into a Irish woman.
Yeah, that one did.
That's because if they had did the Ancient One as written in the comics, China would have just outright banned this movie.
I understand,
but
yeah.
But Scott Derrickson gave us a Wong that was incredible. Because I was always worried about how they were going to handle the manservant Wong, and I really liked the way they handled it. They made him an equal, in some ways a superior, And they cast him perfectly, just the right amount of snark.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton as Ancient One, she has a good motherly vibe to her. I do like her. I just, I would have liked it if they would have referenced that, she appears how you want her to appear. And that way you could kind of say, to these people, I look like this. To this people, I look like this. And that way you could kind of have your cake and eat it too. With how it, because she doesn't make any sense to be in this, this one woman, Irish woman in a Asian monastery. It just, that part just does not connect well, but still,
it's one of those things, if you let go of it, you're going to have a great ride, but if you can't, it's going to affect your enjoyment of the movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a little bit rushed, but still, this is a great movie. I gave it an 8, editor's choice. So It was hard not to give it higher, but it's still a great movie and great 3D. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Scott Derrickson's always been good at genre mixing. I mean, if you've ever seen some of his he's mixed cop procedurals with horror movies. I mean, and he's gotten some great performances out of actors, and he's gotten actors to do genre movies that normally don't do genre or do that many, like Ethan Hawke.
Let's keep going here. We got Trolls, the first Trolls movie. Jake, did you watch this?
Yeah.
And so, for our patrons,
it's bright and colorful, if that means anything.
Yeah, it's bright, colorful. It's a little bit weird that there's trolls, which is the cute little trolls we have with the hair, but there's also trolls that eat the trolls because they want to be happy. It's just what the hell's going on here? What kind of
cannibalism? Cannibalism as emotional eating.
Yeah, it's weird. I watched this movie preparing for World Tour since I was gonna review that movie for the website, which I did, but I mean I was gonna do my first 3D review. World Tour was going to be my first 3D movie review of 2020. That didn't happen because coronavirus. And, it's becoming this flashpoint where, Trolls World Tour made a ton of money at home. Why not just release every movie at home? And so I watched Trolls, the original, during quarantine. And I actually recorded a special review for patrons, Jake. You want to know why it was special?
Why was it special?
Now, you talked about being intoxicated beforehand. And
yeah,
I did this review intoxicated as well. Not.
Oh, I did.
Not by alcohol, though.
What movie was I intoxicated that I did the review, and it was so bad I didn't even get the name of the site right?
I don't know. But I wasn't intoxicated by alcohol, Jake. I was intoxicated by another herb.
And who knows? And maybe sometime in the future, like Christmas, there might be a left-handed cigarette review of Harold and Kumar's 3D movie.
So, let's just say I got high and I made a review for Trolls, the original, and put it up on Patreon. So that is on there. Only for Patreons. I'm just going to have to tease you about that. It wasn't that long a review, but it's a weird movie to watch while you're high. It's really pretty. The music's okay. It's a good 6 out of 10 movie. It's not anything special. Let's keep going here. We got Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk.
Yeah. This is an Ang Lee movie.
Filmed at 120 frames per second.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it at that high a frame rate, but I did see it at a higher frame rate in 3D. It looked nice.
Now, you talked about Iraq War before. This is all about Iraq War veteran coming back and becoming famous or something, right?
Yeah.
I remember this being a big flop.
Yeah. I just think it was one of those things people weren't ready.
And it has Kristen Stewart in here, and so it's one of her first movies after Twilight, or one of the more bigger ones, I guess. And how was it, Jake? I heard that it was okay, but it just didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's okay. I think with more time having passed, if I watched it now, I'd probably like it more. I just remember the audience not being into it. And I think a lot of it is people just weren't ready to deal with the Iraq War.
And you were not able to watch this in high frame rate.
I saw it in a higher than normal frame rate, but it wasn't in 120.
Which is insane to think about that high.
Yeah.
What point is the human eye frame rate? Isn't it like that around that high or something?
Well, the thing is, high frame rate, to me, high frame rate and 3D go together very well because of the light issue, and it balances out the lighting, if that makes sense. Because one eats light and the other one needs a lot of light, and they just seem to balance out. And because I couldn't imagine a high frame rate that wasn't in 3D.
So it's like a drama, right? You like it, or is it...
Mm-hmm. It was fine. Like I said, I was like everybody else. I don't think I was ready for a movie about the Iraq War then.
I mean, the Iraq War was wrapped up by then, so... Anyway, let's keep going here. We got Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the first Harry Potter spin-off movie that I liked. I thought the 3D was gimmicky but well done. I just didn't love it as much as the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, and I'm really sick of J.K. Rowling and her anti-transgender rhetoric.
Yeah. I just don't know what the hell is wrong with her right now. And then she's changing, like...
I'm afraid if I speak too much, I'm going to get slammed for being a sexist pig, and I'm not going to. I'll finish out this series, because I want to see where it goes, but I'm not that enthused about it.
There's a lot of hype for this movie, too, because she helped to write the script or whatever, and it's problematic because there's just too much going on, and I kind of feel like she's also done this to the Harry Potter movies where she was like, I wish I would have done this, and then edit this, and now she's going like George Lucas and let's change this, let's change this, let's change this. And it's like, no, you can't just be changing out all these aspects. And that's where it kind of feels like Fantastic Beasts is like in a way that, JK can retcon Harry Potter, and it's like, you don't need to. Why are you doing this? And it just feels underdeveloped. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a 6. I actually started to fall asleep toward the last half of the movie. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
It does have good charm and good humor, but it just...
And some good performances. And it's got a really nice love story kind of going in the center of it.
So, yeah, it just... Maybe this was like the first, the canary in the coal mine, knowing that JK isn't right anymore in her head.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be mean to her, because I do enjoy the Harry Potter movies, and overall, I think she's a decent person, but she just has gone to crazy town lately, and I can't support her. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, she seems to can't wrap her head around that there's a difference between gender and sex. That they're not that gender's not a polite way of saying sex. They're two separate things.
And then the whole thing, she's trying to rewrite Harry Potter, and they're like, well, Hermione really should have this or that, and just like, no. I know you wrote the books, and the movies, but once it's out there, you can't do backsies. I feel like you just have to live with your choices, and,
Well, she can do what she wants. Fandom is pretty much... they got their headcanon. They don't care what her headcanon is. I just think Harry Potter is about to be kind of taken over by the fans. I wouldn't be surprised if they start publishing their own fan fiction underground at this point.
I just feel like the screenplay here, it's a mess. It's a mess to try to understand, and she's trying to change things in the Harry Potter universe and trying to put some backstory there, and it just doesn't work as well as it should. And it's disappointing. Mm-hmm. It's so disappointing.
Yeah, well, it's... As prequels go, it's better than the Star Wars prequels so far.
True. And the prequels did seem like it's getting better in the second one, but that's just me and you. Everyone else seems to hate the Fantastic Beasts movie. It's a sequel, so...
Yeah, I'm like, if you hate them so much, why in the hell are you watching them?
Alright, let's keep going here to... I think Absolutely fantastic animated Disney movie. I was stunned by this. I got to see this as a free screening, and I walked out and I was like, "Damn, I love this movie. I love the songs. I love the visuals. I love the 3D. Moana is awesome."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of the best movies The Rock ever made.
The Rock is fantastic here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try to pronounce the names, but I think they really have a good respect to Pacific Island culture that is really there. And I was worried about the little chicken and the little pig being, too stupid.
Yeah, and Disney needs to start putting some Moana in their parks, man.
Yeah, it respects the culture. I mean, I'm not of that origin, but it does feel like they got consultants to help make this movie.
Yeah, I have Pacific Islander neighbors. Their kids are always playing with Moana stuff.
The 3D here is great.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a top-notch Disney movie.
Yeah, the 3D. They a couple of times they took out of the frame of the aspect ratio, and it just like cemented how awesome 3D was. I don't know if that happened to you, but like in the different parts of the boat would be popping out of the screen and would be like going in and out of the aspect ratio, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah, this is one I have not found on disc yet. This movie's so wildly popular. I still haven't got this on disc yet. I'm probably gonna have to just break down and get a European copy.
And the songs, I love the songs here. Yeah, both the two main songs that everyone loves, The Shiny and it's like I'm Sorry or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I love this movie. I love the 3D aspect here. It's beautiful, beautiful movie, and I gave this the highest score. I gave it a 10 out of 10 Editor's Choice movie and a great 3D Editor's Choice. It's awesome.
Yeah, I got no problems with that. I would have given it the same.
It's a classic, absolute classic.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep going here. We got a few more movies left. The Great Wall. Now, this is a movie about Trump's wall between Mexico, right? Or no?
No. This movie is awesome trash. This is a Hong Kong. This is basically a multinational movie. It's mostly Chinese. The Great Wall, and it stars Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal, and it's got some awesome 3D, some great CGI in a trashy sort of way. This is a turn your brain off and kick back, and you're gonna have a blast. I wouldn't watch this any other way but 3D. To me, the 3D is what made it. Is it great 3D? No, but it really works in with this movie. It's good enough. I had a blast with it. I was fortunate enough to live someplace that actually screened this in 3D, and I also have the Hong Kong disc in 3D of this.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
It's worthwhile if you like trashy movies. It's a good one. It's a good trash.
Now, one movie that a lot of people don't think is trash. A lot of people think it might be the best prequel of all time. Rogue One, or Rogue One, Star Wars story.
Yeah, Rogue One. This is one of the two Star Wars movies I've given a perfect 10 to. The other being Empire.
Alright, so why do you love it so much?
It's a great story. It's a story that actually was interesting and worth telling. I really think it captured the whole zeitgeist of where the world was dealing with all the wars going on and with the rise of fascism in the world. And it just kind of just told this simple story about one of the little loose ends in first Star Wars movies. Like, where did Princess Leia get those plans that she passed on to R2? I just thought it was this is to me, this is by far the best of the Disney Star Wars movies.
Now, he does have a really cool robot with K2SO.
Mm-hmm.
And this was I enjoyed this movie. I don't know why. Something about it just did not connect with me, and I didn't love it. I liked it. I definitely respect it. I think it's well done. The cinematography, I gotta give credit to. Cinematography, I thought was great.
Well, I will nitpick about some of the recreate. I really didn't think they captured Peter Cushing as Tarkin very well. They didn't have him gaunt enough, and the Carrie Fisher scene, I just thought she had too much. Her cheeks looked too much like a chipmunk's.
What do you think of the 3D? 'Cause I thought it was a total waste.
Where I saw it, it looked marvelous.
Huh.
But then I joked I've practically beaten my projectionist where I saw it screen. Unfortunately, where I saw that and I saw Blade Runner 2046, they no longer screen in 3D, which is a damn shame, because 3D movies that people were telling me were god awful, they were looking good at their location.
Blade Runner 2049.
Sorry, people. I can't believe I did that again.
So, and maybe it was my theater. I just felt like it was kind of blurry and kind of not really there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that really hurts 3D is they just have some Mick slave pushing a button on a project. In 3D, you need a little skill to project it properly.
I just didn't. I mean, I like the cast, but I don't really. I don't know. It's hard for me to grab onto this story. They're likable. It just, I guess because they're not part of other movies, it felt weird. I just don't care. I don't know. I don't know why. I guess I'm the only one that just doesn't.
To me, it just captured what I felt seeing Star Wars for the first time, and that's like the only other time I ever felt that way was when I saw Empire for the first time.
So I think it's a beautiful movie. I do like it. I just, I gave it a 7. I liked it, but I don't know. For some reason, it just did not connect with me. I know I'm crazy. Everyone in the world seems to love this movie but me, but...
No, it seems like I know a lot of people who can't stand any of the Disney Star Wars movies, even this one. Not just James, but I can't stand the prequels at all.
All right, let's keep going here to Assassin's Creed, based on the video game. I never watched this movie. I kind of wanted to, but then it got really bad reviews. You know anything about this?
I remember this is one that I actually went to the theater, got so drunk, I woke up in another auditorium.
Okay. You don't remember the movie?
All I can remember is they asked me, "Why are we here?" And I said, that movie must have really sucked for me to change auditoriums.
All right, let's keep going then. We got 2 more movies we're going to talk about. Passengers.
Oh my god. Oh god, this movie sucks.
All right, so this was a weird. I didn't know it was 3D, but then certain theaters didn't have it in 3D, and I was like, "What's going on with this movie?" I couldn't find it, and I just gave up and I heard all the bad reviews, and I was.
The 3D is actually really good in this. The effects are really good in this. This movie looks beautiful, but this movie is a walking Me Too train wreck.
I felt like they had a good core of an idea. They just didn't follow through with it.
The biggest the problem is this guy basically murdered this person in slow motion, and according to the end of this movie, was rewarded for basically killing this person by waking her up from suspended animation because they were going to die before they got to their destination because they were awoken from their and then Lawrence Fishburne basically becomes the side black character that dumps exposition and we kill off.
This
Spoiler.
And this stars some big names on here with
Chris. I can't. I think most people who like this movie, Chris Pratt is just so charming, but God, he's such a douchebag in this movie.
Jennifer Lawrence here too.
I mean, she has a normal reaction. I mean, to a point. I mean, personally, if I was in her shoes, Chris Pratt's character would have been dead in 30 seconds. Somebody did that to me, I would have killed him.
This is a story about like a cruise spaceship or something, and there's
go into hibernation because it takes hundreds of years to get to your final destination, and he gets woke up, and then he is lonely and decides he just pretty much reads the manifest of passengers and picks one to wake up and to die with him.
And it's kind of you learn that toward the end. The beginning, you think it's just kind of by chance kind of thing, and then you reveal that he's just a horrible monster of a man.
Yeah, and it's okay, and the movie says it's okay because he got woke up by a tiny meteor that woke him up, and they have to save the ship and everybody else. At this point, I'm flipping both fingers at this movie, going, everybody involved in this movie needs to die, except Lawrence Fishburne.
And it becomes like a big thing about them fighting, and then he does eventually sacrifice himself for the greater good. But then, like, see that I'm doing good now, but just like you're just a douchebag. You're just
You're a douchebag. I would have sent you out the airlock.
So yeah, it's a weird movie, and I think it was like they played it up to be like a romantic comedy, but it's more like a romantic horror kind of thing.
Yeah, this is a stalker kidnapping kind of movie. I mean, basically, she's not only going to not get to her destination, she's going to die on a ship. She's going to die in a spaceship, and she's going to have to look at his asshole face for the rest of her life.
All right, let's move on to the last movie on this list.
Spooky, I give it a 0, just on principle.
I didn't review it. I don't know what the hell I'll give it, because the first half of it, I kind of like it, and then after that, I was like, "Oh, screw you, movie too."
This movie is just so offensive.
I don't know. I don't know what I'll give it as. Let's go on to the last movie, Sing, a talking animal movie about animals that sing. Jake, did you watch this or no?
Yeah, this is kind of Zootopia Light meets Glee.
Basically, actually, yeah. With a character that, his studio is going to close down, so he's going to make a big competition, a big thing to try to get people interested, and he's going to have a big competition where people sing, and there's a misprint at the printers, and instead of being, $1,000, it's $10,000, and now everyone wants to sing and prove, and he's now a big hit, but it's all based on a lie. It's actually a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised by this.
Yeah, and good music, good 3D. Yeah, it's a charmer.
It was actually kind of interesting because this was back when James was here, and James reviewed it and didn't tell me he was going to review it until he gave me the email. Here's a review. I was like, what? Okay. And then he gave it a 7, and I was like, whoa, okay. And I watched it later on DVD, Blu-ray, and I agreed with his review. It was a very sweet movie. For what it was, it looked just like a basic movie in the trailers, and It has a little more heart, a little more to it than it looks like. Sing is a good movie.
Yep.
All right. So let's keep going. So let's wrap up because we've been talking for about 2 hours here at most. So what is the best movie of 2016?
Oh, that is tough because this is a really good year. I mean, you got Rogue One, Kubo and the Two Strings, Captain America: Civil War, Zootopia, and Star Trek Beyond. I mean, all of those are worthy of being the best movie of the year.
Okay. I'm going to say Moana. It charmed me. I loved it. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, and I left that one off the list. It shows you this was, if I had to pick, I would probably pick Rogue One. I think because it just knocked it out of the park and I was not expecting it to do so.
Okay. Worst movie of the year. Woo!
Oh, it's a tie between Gods of Egypt and Passengers.
Okay. Best animated movie.
Zootopia.
I'm going to stick with my Moana.
And Kubo and the Two Strings is a close second.
Yeah. I guess I'll give it to Kubo since I already did that for best movie, to be, fair. Best hidden gem. Movie that people may have missed that you really like.
God, I just had it because we just talked about it.
Miss Peregrine is for me.
Yes, yeah, Miss Peregrine, definitely.
Best sequel.
Star Trek Beyond. I'll give it that because I just picked Rogue One, so I'd give Star Trek Beyond.
Okay. Yeah, Rogue One is a weird thing. I wouldn't consider that a sequel to Episode 3 or a prequel to Episode 4. It's just the side story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too.
All right, best comic book movie.
Oh, definitely Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah. Some notable best 3D aspects. Definitely got to give credit to Doctor Strange for being great in 3D.
Yeah, and of course Kubo and the Two Strings. Just like just their puppets and just their 3D. It's just wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash in this year.
The best trash though was The Great Wall.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, as to The Looking Glass.
What other Hong Kong movie are you going to see Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal in?
Yeah, there's a lot of trash in this year. There's a lot of valleys in this year. There's some good peaks, but there's a lot of valleys here.
Well, that's one of the things that helped kill 3D.
I mean, Independence Day was bad. Alice the Looking Glass was bad. BFG was good, but just, not memorable. Secret Life of Pets, same thing. Ghostbusters, really bad.
Yeah, but it didn't rate Gods of Egypt or Passengers bad.
So, yeah, 2016 is an interesting, all over the place year. And any other final thoughts?
No, I think we've spoken, and I think people are sick of 2016 now and want to move on.
All right, then. I guess that'll be it for us. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Kano3D and Mr. Bengal 5 for your financial support on patreon.com. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thanks for listening. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dortwo@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.